Time for a Soccer Down Here 1v1, and for this one, we get a little traveling in. It is a multi-hemispheric experience where it is North and Central America because we're going to catch up with Rapha Araujo and what's going on with him. Because you're kind of busy right now. You're down in Nicaragua and you're chasing a title for U.S. in futsal. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, so let me ask it from the absolute beginning. Now, first off, you were part of the 2021 World Cup qualifiers, one of 6 from the World Cup team. Born in Brazil, you moved to New Jersey at the age of 13. How did you get down the futsal road? How did that interest happen for you when it came to this particular sport and having it as a part of your being, I guess?
Yeah, so I mean, growing up in Brazil, futsal is huge there. You know, like most kids, they're playing futsal until they're about 15. That's when they begin to transition into soccer. I'm talking about professionally, you know, but every kid, you just play street soccer or you're playing futsal. That's basically what you play. So yeah, I had that background. So when I came here to New Jersey, there was a league. You know, obviously went through high school, college. After college, I was playing MPSL, which is a soccer league. But then the team I was playing for also had a futsal team playing in a futsal league that was actually pretty big especially in the East Coast. They had a lot of like well-known futsal clubs in the league. So I started playing for them. You know, I played for about 2 years in that league, and then actually one of the coaches from the team I used to play against, the name of the club was New York, Ecuador, a New York team. He called me. He said, "Hey, the U.S. futsal national team, they're looking to add futsal players to the team. They're having an ID camp in Philadelphia. Are you interested?" So I was like, "Yes, absolutely." So I went to an ID camp, and I had a great showing. The coaches really liked my style, you know, my passion on the field, and I've been there ever since. So that was in 2019.
Does it seem like a 5-year road for you where the program gets restarted by the federation 5 years ago? And now that you've gone through all of these different things and the United States is chasing after hemispheric championships, does it seem like 5 years ago when you started this road?
Yeah, honestly, time flies. Time flies, but I see so much growth in the program, within the team. You know, like I said, 5 years ago in 2019, the program was just looking for futsal players. That's why they were having these ID camps, looking for local talent. And thank God that's how I was found. And now we have a base. You know, we some players. You know, like you said, 4 of the players were in the 2021 World Cup qualifying tournament. 6 of us were in the World Cup in I believe it was September, October of 2021. So we have a good base, and then now we have a lot of other players who have experience in the MASL, which is an indoor league here in the U.S. And you know, they're just so talented. And you know, with the strong base that we have plus this talent, I think we have a big chance to compete for the title here.
And we'll get into that in just a little bit because I want to find out about how tough futsal in CONCACAF is for someone who's never seen it or experienced it, what they would be getting into when they watch it for the first time. But let me ask you this. You mentioned arena soccer. And when it comes to keeping yourself busy and trying to stay in the game, arena soccer is, it's hotbeds in some markets when it comes to the sport and how it has been staying in the public consciousness basically for 40 years or so. When it comes to arena soccer and futsal, I guess this will be a two-way question here. How does playing arena soccer help you with futsal? And how has futsal helped you with your arena soccer game?
Okay, so I'll start by how futsal helped me get to the arena game, because I actually started playing arena after playing for the U.S. futsal national team. So obviously, because of coaches were watching the tournaments, they gave me a call. They're like, hey, we like you. We like you to play for our team. So that's how I got into the MASL, which is the indoor soccer league. I think there's a lot of similarities. Sorry, I can pronounce similarities between both. For example, receiving with the sole of your foot, the toe poke is actually a huge part of futsal and the indoor game. So technically, there's a lot of similarities, but it is a very different game as well. For example, we don't have walls. Is six indoor is 6v6, futsal is 5v5. But there's a lot of things you can take from one and add to the other. I think you can definitely do that.
When it comes to going from one to another, do you have to kind of reset your brain a little bit? Because, if you're in season in arena soccer and then you're called away to a futsal camp and a futsal competition, do you have to kind of reset everything and sit there and go, okay, no, the arena soccer is over here and then futsal's over here? Is there a reset or is it fairly seamless when you're going from one to the other?
I'm used to it by now. But yeah, I mean, you have to change your mentality a little bit. For example, in futsal, in arena soccer, you can, because there's boards, you can just take shots from basically any angle, because the ball, if it doesn't go in goal, you hit the boards and somebody, one of your teammates can get the rebound and score. Where in futsal, you got to be more careful. You can't just take shots from anywhere, because if the ball goes to the goalie and he makes a save, boom, transition, right? And you can get scored on like that. So there's a little, you do have to change your mentality a little bit. But I think most of us are just soccer players in general. We can play futsal, outdoor, arena, whatever it is. I think, we can transition pretty well.
What's it like representing your country?
Oh, it's such an honor. It was a dream come true. Playing especially when I got to play in the World Cup. Like, I still remember, like, listening to the national anthem literally brought tears to my eyes. It was such a dream.
And right now, you're part of a 14-player national team in the CONCACAF Futsal Championships, getting ready for the action this upcoming weekend in Nicaragua. How tough is CONCACAF Futsal for someone who's never seen it? We all look at it in a bunch of different sports in a bunch of different ways, but from a futsal perspective, how tough is CONCACAF?
Listen, CONCACAF is very tough. You might think, oh, there's some smaller countries if you think about like worldwide, but CONCACAF, they bring out warriors. Like every single team, there's just warriors. It's pretty physical, even though, is you can't really push and slide tackle like that, like soccer, still very physical. And the referees, they kind of let a lot go. But, you know, and also, like, believe it or not, there's some pretty big, well-known futsal teams in CONCACAF. For example, Costa Rica. I think they won 3 or 4 in a row. They've been doing this for years. They always make it to the World Cup, and Guatemala as well. Those are two pretty big countries in futsal. Believe it or not.
What would it mean to qualify for the second straight Futsal World Cup for the United States? For once again, someone who might see this in a headline somewhere and they understand, okay, so we're chasing after another World Cup bid. What would this mean in the futsal environment for the United States to qualify for their second straight World Cup?
Listen, I'm gonna be real. I think this CONCACAF, it's, I want to say, an obligation, but it's definitely an expectation. Like, we expect to do it. Where in 2021 it was kind of new. I believe all the players was their first time competing in a World Cup qualifying tournament. Where this year, we have returning players. We did it last time, so we expect to do it. We expect to qualify for the World Cup.
Rapha Araujo hanging out with us here as he is part of the 14-player U.S. men's futsal national team roster, getting ready for the Futsal Championships, starting group stage this weekend in Nicaragua. When you have this expectation, when you and the rest of that roster, the rest of that traveling party has that expectation, how do you use that as fuel, but you don't use it as too much fuel, if that makes any sense, where you have that expectation, you have that self-imposed pressure, I guess, and how do you keep it from becoming too much of the pressure on your chest to where you just go out and perform and everything flows? That's a real tight difference there. How do you keep it as that positive and that motivator instead of pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to take it one game at a time. I think you do have to play with confidence and know that we're here for one reason, which is to qualify for the World Cup. But like you say, we don't want to have that pressure on us where it's gonna affect the way we play. So I think we got to take it one game at a time. So game one for us is the most important game. You have to get a good result that game, so then things are gonna begin to flow for us. So we're gonna take it as one final at a time. Every game is gonna be a final for us, and playing like when you're in a final, there's pressure, but you gotta play. You leaving everything on the court. Basically, it's gonna be a war every game.
When you have conversations, casual or otherwise, and you might come across a young athlete who may not fully understand what futsal can do, how it can help you as a soccer player, indoor, outdoor, what have you, can help you with your skill set. If I was to walk up to you as a young player and sit there and go, what do you do? And you say, well, I'm part of the United States national futsal squad, and we're accomplishing all these different things. And you kind of see the question mark hover over their head, and they wonder about futsal. Why should a young person gravitate toward futsal? Not just to help them out with their soccer acumen and their abilities, but why should they gravitate toward the sport in general?
Listen, I'm a firm believer that futsal is super important for the development of players. So I'll begin with that. Just futsal. Let's just talk about, right. So it's 5v5 with the goalie. So it's basically 4v4. The space is limited, right? It's a much smaller court compared to soccer, and there's nowhere to hide. You always got to be touching the ball. You always got to be showing for your teammates, or else you're not going to be able to play, right? Soccer, 11v11, even if you're younger, 9v9, sometimes 7v7, there's a lot of times that you don't touch the ball. Futsal, you're always touching the ball. So it's going to help you, it's going to help your technique, right? So it's very easy for you to start by playing futsal. You're always on the ball, improving your technique. And then if you transition into soccer, you're going to feel more confident. You're going to want the ball on your foot as much as possible. And then in regards to the second part of it is futsal is so exciting. It's 4v4, it's tight. There's always you either always attacking or always defending. There's no in between. I'm not trying to say soccer is not exciting. I love soccer too, but sometimes there's more. Let's put it this way. Sometimes soccer is like a 1-0 game, 2-0 game. Futsal is rare. Okay, and then another thing that why futsal is so exciting is that you could be losing a game 2-0, 3-0 with a minute left, and you can come back. There's a tactic that we use. Every team uses called when you put a flying keeper. Is when you take your goalkeeper out and you put a player with the goalkeeper jersey, and then you basically have an advantage. You're playing 5v4. So you can create so many goals, opportunities with that tactic.
Yeah, I know we see that in other sports across the board as well. So, what does the rest of the week look like for you guys? Because group stage is 13th, 14th, 15th, Trinidad, Tobago, Dominican Republic, Guatemala. What is the rest of the week looking like in a perfect world for you as you get ready to make sure that you're hitting everything full song by the time you get to the weekend?
Yeah, so training every day. I think we got training in like an hour or so. Training every day, sometimes 2 a days, but then obviously taking care of our bodies, hydrating, eating healthy. We're at a very nice hotel, great food. So I'm sure there's going to be some recovery sessions, some pool sessions or something to help our legs. So right now it's training, just to getting sharp basically, and then I'm sure by when is the first game? Is it Saturday or Friday? I'm not sure, but
The 13th, whatever the 13th is.
yeah, is that? I think it's a Saturday. Let me
That
see.
sounds good. I'll take your word for it. So 4 days
Yeah,
from
it's a
now.
Saturday. So
Okay.
basically, like Friday, then slow down a little bit. Some make sure you're sleeping good, so that we're fresh for the first game.
Looking forward to it, and we hope that everybody gets to the weekend as healthy as humanly possible. Looking forward to the men's futsal national team chasing after the futsal championship in CONCACAF down there in Nicaragua. Rapha, it is great to see you, my friend. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Good luck, you and the squad, as you chase after yet another berth in the Futsal World Cup. But first things first is getting through CONCACAF. Thanks for hanging out, my friend. Be safe. We'll be keeping an eye on you. We'll catch you up soon.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you.